Politics Now. Police ambushed in Dallas. How America is trying to heal in the wake of the murders of 5 police officers.
We can't afford any money diverting from the school system.
The state Supreme Court is gearing up to hear arguments on Nevada's school choice program. We break down the pros and cons.
And an annual assault on the Clark County Teachers Union. We ask NPRI about its drive to tell educators about their once-a-year chance to leave their union.
From 8 News Now, this is Politics Now with Steve Sebelius and Patrick Walker.
Police shootings of minority suspects and the tragic ambush of Dallas police officers at an otherwise peaceful Black Lives Matter protest have dominated the news. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Sebelius.
And I'm Patrick Walker. Thursday's deadly military-style ambush killed 5 officers, left 7 others wounded, including a woman who'd been participating in the march. One of the suspects told Dallas police he wanted to kill white people, especially white cops, because he was mad about police shootings of black people in other cities. On Friday, Attorney General Loretta Lynch spoke about the shootings.
After the events of this week, Americans across our country are feeling a sense of helplessness, of uncertainty, and of fear. And these feelings are understandable and they are justified, but the answer must not be violence.
The president of the NAACP and others, including Metro Police and community leaders here in Las Vegas, called for a calming of the debate about the police shootings.
The Dallas assassinations came on the heels of 2 deadly shootings of black men by police this week. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the shooting of a 37-year-old man was caught on cell phone camera and surveillance video. And in St. Paul, Minnesota, a woman did a Facebook Live of the aftermath of her boyfriend being shot during a traffic stop. Now, those shootings and how we can deal with them are the subject of this week's Face Off. I want to point out that we taped this segment Thursday morning before the deadly ambush of Dallas police took place Thursday evening. That's why our panelists didn't discuss what happened in Dallas. Joining us this week are Battle Born Progress Executive Director Annette Magnus from the left and KXNT radio host Alan Stock from the right.
If there's a problem that exists, what should be done?
You know, this is a systemic problem like we've talked about before. We've talked about this on this show. Alan and I have debated this before. You know, I have a real issue with this. You do see what happens in those cases. I watched both of those videos. Now there's 2 videos in the Baton Rouge episode. They actually tried to confiscate the video from the store, the police did, because they didn't want people to see what happened. And then you have this video that emerged in Minnesota. It's horrifying to even watch. You know, you turn it on, you watch it, and you hear what they're doing. You know, I have a real problem with this, and I'm trying to rationalize it in my head, because in one sense, you have the right saying, well, if more people have more guns, then things will get better. And now these people, 2 of these people got shot, and they had guns in their pockets, and they were doing the right thing with their weapons. So it's just, the whole thing is horrifying to me, and I really do think we need to take a real look at it in this country, because there is a problem. There is a problem that a black man is 7 times more likely to get shot by police than a white man. That is horrifying to me, and something needs to be done about this, and our police forces do need to evaluate the way they're using deadly force. I'm sorry, the man on the ground with his hands behind his back, why didn't they use a taser? That's what I want to know.
Well, I don't know why they didn't use a taser, but in terms of more blacks getting shot than anyone else, perhaps it's partly because in the black community they're taught a lack of respect for police authority.
The woman I saw last night, she was very respectful.
No, I'm talking about in general in the community. You said about more blacks being shot.
I totally disagree with you.
Well, when you see people demonstrating, they're going, more blacks get shot because there's lack of respect, and they're going after blacks one after the other, which is what they say in demonstrations.
I actually Googled this because I knew you were going to bring this up. And, you know, just a couple weeks ago, there was a white man in a parking lot wielding an axe at police, running after police. He was apprehended and taken away in handcuffs. No harm, no foul. There was a man, a white man, who walked into a black church, mowed them all down, and he was apprehended. He didn't get shot, and he was apprehended and taken away. I don't understand how you cannot see the problem here. There is a systemic problem where disproportionately African American people in this country, and people of color generally, are treated differently by the police than white people, period.
Well, the man who did the shooting again in Minnesota was supposedly, she kept saying it was Chinese. You know, let me
It doesn't matter what the police officer is.
But here's the thing. the thing is that you have to look at the law enforcement agencies in this country. When you talk about local police agencies, you talk about county sheriffs, you talk about the state police, BLM, talk about national, federal police, whatever you talk about, and you're talking about nationally, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of interactions every day between citizens and law enforcement officials. Hundreds of thousands nationally. You have a very minimal number of shootings that occur on a regular basis. Now, why is the case that so many blacks, whites, yellows, browns are having interactions with law enforcement and such big numbers on a daily basis, and so few are getting shot? But when they do, people will say, oh, right away, oh, it's because they're black. I'm telling you that there is a problem with those people getting shot. I don't know what they are. The case in Louisiana, glad you brought that up, because in Louisiana what you see is you see them on the ground with the guy, the officer takes his gun out, and then you do not see anything after that. The cameras go away and you do not see the actual shooting. Now, what happened in those few seconds?
You actually see it from the store. You do see it from the store angle. You absolutely see what happens.
What happened in those few seconds that he took his gun out and the guy was shot? I don't know what happens. I'm willing to wait and see what happens. Again, if it turns out to be a Ferguson situation, then the cop's exonerated. If it turns out to be the cop is wrong, then you turn around and you deal with the cop. Ferguson, the guy did not have his hands up and he didn't say don't shoot. And the witnesses prove that and the forensics prove that.
We're coming up on a year. We see this on the year of Ferguson. This coming Sunday, the day that this show airs, we're coming up on that anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of Ferguson. And to me, it's gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. There is a systemic problem that, like I said, black people in this country disproportionately get shot, more so than white people. Look, I read a story last night about a woman who was afraid to call the police. She had nothing to do with the crime, and she was afraid to call the police because so often things are misconstrued that, somehow they're involved with the crime just because she was black. I have never a day in my life as a white person worried about calling the police, and we have to examine that. Why are people of color afraid of our police forces? We need them to be working with our community.
Well, much more in that conversation. As you can imagine, you can watch the entire conversation and our panel debating Hillary Clinton's emails and the president's announcement that more troops are going to be staying in Afghanistan. Online, look for your local election headquarters tab on LasVegasNow.com. Steve, how is this going to play in now to the presidential race moving forward?
Well, I think, in the light of these shootings in Dallas, I think you're going to see, and you already have seen Democrats calling for more gun control. They're going to say, look, more guns did not solve the problem in Dallas. All those officers were armed, and it didn't stop what happened from going down. On the Republican side, I think you're going to see kind of a greater emphasis on law and order type things, which is a Republican strength. That's right in their wheelhouse. And I know both candidates kind of suspended things for a day. That's not going to last very long. They're going to be back at it very quickly.
And it will be a topic, I'm sure, that will be debated very heatedly among the candidates and the campaigns. Well, the state school choice program will soon be back under the microscope. Both lawsuits will be heard before the state Supreme Court this month, and both sides are hoping to get an answer before school starts next month.
Public school in its traditional sense is just not working for my son.
Shannon Churchwell says Nevada's school choice program, or education savings account, is the only way she can afford to put her son into private school.
Unfortunately, because we're a lower income family, we're trapped. I really feel like we're held hostage by this dysfunctional system.
The ESA program essentially allows parents to receive the roughly $5,000 that would be spent on their child in a public school and apply it toward tutoring or private school tuition. Lawsuits are challenging the program on two fronts.
We can't afford any money diverting from the school system.
Adriana Martinez with Educate Nevada Now says the program would divert about $30 million in funding out of public education.
These are tax dollars going into private education, taking away from our public schools.
The other issue, whether or not public funds will go towards secular purposes.
This is unconstitutional, this transfer of cash from the taxpayer to private religious use.
But Michael Schaus of the Nevada Policy Research Institute says in both cases, parents get the money first, which means the money doesn't go directly into private schools.
The state is not giving any money directly to schools. The state has no control, really, over what schools a parent may or may not choose.
So who's right? That decision will come from the Nevada Supreme Court.
All right, time to play the guessing game, Steve. Which way do you think that the high court here in the state will decide? Now, they're hearing two issues together.
Right, yeah, they're hearing both lawsuits at the same time. I never predict what a court, is going to do.
The soft way out.
But I will say this. I think of the two lawsuits, I think the one that the district court decided against the ACLU, against the plaintiffs.
Here in Las Vegas.
I think that has a greater chance of stopping the program, but only with respect to religious schools. I think the rest of the program could probably go forward, just not with respect to religious schools if the court decides that way. But again, there's enough material there where the court could go either way and have a reasonable basis for its decision. So it's going to be something we have to wait and see on. I don't know if they're going to get a decision in time to meet the deadlines for the parents for this next school year, though.
That'll be interesting to see. We'll be following that one, of course, as well, very closely. Well, Hillary Clinton will not be facing charges in the scandal over her handling of classified information.
FBI Director James Comey made the announcement on Tuesday, but said Clinton and the State Department were careless and reckless in how they handled information, but that no reasonable prosecutor would bring a case against her. House Republicans quickly called the FBI Director to Capitol Hill to explain. Republicans accused him of a double standard. Comey said he followed the facts and the law.
Like I said, I understand why people are confused by the whole discussion. I get that. But you know what would be a double standard? If she were prosecuted for gross negligence.
Comey faced more than 4 hours of questions before the House Government Reform and Oversight Committee, where Republicans and Democrats struggled to cast the issue in terms most favorable to their side.
Coming up on Politics Now, we break down the voter registration numbers in key races across the state. Stay tuned for that.
The Race Now on Politics Now is sponsored by NV Energy. We're putting all of our energy into your energy.
I know the sacrifices our military makes. My father was a fighter pilot who went missing over Laos during the Vietnam War. For 30 years, I served everywhere from Iraq to Somalia, where I've been responsible for the lives of our sons and daughters. For all of them and for our country, I cannot support Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't have the temperament or judgment to be our commander-in-chief. That's why I'm speaking out for America.
Priorities USA Action is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Roam into the Orleans, Gold Coast, Suncoast, or Samstown for the Boyd Gaming $600,000 Freedom to Roam giveaway. Saturday, July 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. 5 winners at each drawing can win cash, prizes, or a brand new Jeep Renegade. Earn entries now through July 30th. And each Friday, get up to 50 times your entries to increase your chances. So come on down to the Orleans, Gold Coast, Suncoast, or Samstown, and you just may drive away with a new feeling of freedom. See Be Connected Club for details.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Who are you consulting with consistently so that you're ready on day one?
I'm speaking with myself because I have a very good brain. My primary consultant is myself.
While Donald Trump consulted with himself, as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton negotiated a ceasefire in Gaza, a reduction in nuclear weapons, took on Vladimir Putin, and stood up against the trafficking of human beings. A steady leader in an unsteady world.
I'm attorney Glenn Lerner. Make one call, that's all to 877-1500, and I'll make sure you get every dollar you deserve.
877-1500. Your most accurate Weather Now forecast, certified by Weather Rate, an independent monitoring service. Be sure to watch 8 News Now weeknights to see what Ted says next. Welcome back to Politics Now.
Well, Nevada's Democrats are picking up more ground in the push to register new voters in November as the election draws near. So we're going to take a look at voter registration breaking out in some of the key races here in the state. Democrats registered more than 10,000 new voters between May and June, bringing their statewide advantage over Republicans now to nearly 70,000 voters. Republicans added about 7,000 voters, but were out-registered by people signing up as nonpartisan statewide. In fact, more people signed up as nonpartisan than Republican in several of the key races that will determine control of the state legislature as well. So first up, let's go back to the national level. Let's talk about the 3rd Congressional District, of course, CD3 down here with much of Clark County. It's the whole southern half of Clark County. That's Jackie Rosen and Danny Tarkanian. How do you see this?
Absolutely. Well, that race, actually, Democrats added nearly 3,000 voters and Republicans signed up 2,400. Democrats have a lead of about 5,000 voters, but the district's been pretty kind to Republicans on Election Day in all but one election since it was created way back in 2001.
Well, things in the big CD4 not looking too good for the incumbent.
Left out Mineral County. Huh?
I left out Mineral County, so we'll bring that all in there as well. But for Crescent Hardy, the incumbent, things not looking too well as Ruben Kihuen mounting a big charge.
Yeah, definitely not. Democrats registered more than 3,000 voters there, while Republicans registered just 1,900, and the Democratic advantage grew to nearly 34,000 more Democrats than Republicans. And in a series of key districts that we're tracking to determine which political party will run the show up in Carson City come 2017, Democrats registered more voters than did Republicans. That includes 2 state Senate districts and 8 assembly districts. But in at least 2 of those districts, the numbers show a pair of Republican incumbents are keeping things very close. In Assembly District 9 in Las Vegas.
Where is 9 here? Let's find 9 and circle folks right here. There's
we should
9.
never do this live. Incumbent Republican David Gardner saw 250 new Republicans signed up. Now that trails the 377 new Democrats, but he's keeping the race pretty close. Gardner, who's being challenged by Democrat and public defender Steve Yeager, faces a registration deficit overall of about 2,400 voters. And then down in Henderson in Assembly District 29. There we go. Right. Republican Stephen Silberkraus did even better, with Republicans signing up 201 new voters. That's just 40 voters shy of the 241 people who signed up as Democrats. Silberkraus faces a deficit of just 1,200 voters as he defends his seat against former appointed incumbent Assemblywoman Leslie Cohen. Now remember, both Gardner and Silberkraus in the June primary beat back challengers within their own party who objected to their votes to raise taxes during the 2015 legislature. Oh, and in Libertarian news, Assemblyman John Moore, the Republican-turned Libertarian who represents Assembly District 8, was probably not happy with the numbers. Only 12 new Libertarians signed up in his district. It may not matter much since the district has nearly 12,000 Democrats and just 7,600 Republicans. And out in Nye County, Libertarian brothel owner Dennis Hoff better not be counting on Libertarians alone to make his race. Only 8 new people signed up as Libertarians in rural Assembly District 36. Hoff is obviously counting on a good chunk of the nearly 17,000 Republicans coming his way in his battle with Republican incumbent James Oscarson. There's no Democrat in the race, although nearly 11,000 people in the district have signed up with that party.
Well, very interesting as we crunch those numbers, Steve. Yeah. Well, coming up, NPRI is trying to get some of the teachers out of the teachers union. Michael Schaus is here to tell us the reasoning behind the effort and if it's been successful.
And hoping for a green rush, just how much money in sales one group estimates our recreational pot initiative might net.
When you need cash fast with flexibility, go to Rapid Cash for an easy pay installment loan and get more cash than a payday loan. Make flexible payments, you don't need a bank account, and consolidate your more expensive loans.
Love that Rapid Cash.
Take a spin for the big win at SLS Las Vegas with the $3.5 million Reels of Riches drawing every Saturday from July 2nd to August 20th at 8 p.m. Join the code today to start earning your entries daily. Only at SLS Las Vegas, located at Las Vegas Boulevard at Sahara.
Let's go celebrate with the Toyota Camry. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 72 months on Camry. For other great offers, visit Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Read all about it! Rapid Cash drops rates on title loans, starting at just 7% per month or 84% APR. There's never been a better time for a Rapid Cash title loan, now as low as 7% per month.
Love that Rapid Cash.
Monday morning on Good Day.
Advertisers targeting you with ads based on what they think you want.
So, how do you get them off your Facebook feed? We'll show you.
Plus, getting your questions answered.
We sit down with Mayor Carolyn Goodman for Monday Mornings with the Mayor.
And flying with kids can be extra expensive, especially if you all want to sit together.
You can't have a 3-year-old sit by herself.
I know we're bothering other people unless they really like kids.
The steps Congress is taking to cut down the fees, Monday on Good Day.
You're watching Politics Now.
Well, the Nevada Policy Research Institute has started its yearly drive during the summer to tell teachers when and how they can leave the teachers union. There's only a 2-week window to do that, and it ends on the 15th. Michael Schaus is here to explain why his group does this and whether it's been successful. So how many people have you gotten to leave the union so far this year?
So far this year, we really won't know the full numbers until probably about August, when they actually start coming back into the school system. If it's anything like last year we saw about 1,500 over the 2-week period. Yeah. It was mostly Clark County and Washoe County.
And how many people are in the union to begin with?
It's going to fluctuate year to year. I know that right now, little over half of the teachers actually belong to a union here in Clark County.
Yeah. Tell us why NPRI does this. Why is it important?
I think the biggest part is the individual choice. If you're a teacher and you feel that the benefits you're getting from the union fit what you want, stay in the union. If, however, you're dissatisfied with the representation or you don't feel you're getting the bang for your buck, you can take your union dues and represent yourself and kind of free yourself from maybe an organization that you don't like.
Is this one of those things where, you know, it's in the fine print, you can join it most any time, but you can only leave during one particular period of time?
We actually had a colleague who likened it to a cable TV contract, trying to get out of it. It's buried on page 14 or something, and it's just a really quick little segment, and there are only 2 weeks in the middle of summer when you're probably vacationing, doing 4th of July, not thinking about school or employment.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, sounds good. Michael Schaus, thanks very much for being with us and sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you.
Patrick, over to you.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. It's time for the Race Now, where we talk about big local political stories for the week. Many of the politicians and candidates showed up at the Boulder City Jamboree 4th of July parade in what turned out to be a bipartisan event. Republican Congressman Joe Heck, who's running for Senate, summed up why.
So it's a really important day for us to be out here and meet with the voters.
Well, a pro-recreational marijuana group, meantime, called New Frontier, released a study saying the recreational cannabis market in Nevada could be a $630 million market by 2020. One of the main reasons for that quick ascension is the 55 million tourists that visit Nevada every year. It projects a significant amount of the sales would go toward those particular people. Now, starting on Monday here on 8 News Now, I'll have a 3-part special report on how the marijuana industry might look here in Nevada if it passes in November. And Nevada is one of 17 states Donald Trump is planning to target coming up in the general election. Trump's political director Jim Murphy told a group of House members this week about that list. Now, it did not include New York or California. Nevada, widely considered, of course, is one of the most competitive battleground states. Now, it wasn't specified if that means TV commercials would be popping up more and more here in Nevada, or if that means more boots on the ground. Of course, Nevada has been mentioned as a battleground state, and both state parties are targeting it. But where is the Republican infrastructure, Steve, at least when it comes to the presidential campaign?
Well, it's funny because generally the Republican infrastructure would be in the state party. But the state party hasn't really fulfilled that role. So you've seen in the last couple of cycles the campaigns themselves, the presidential campaign, the Senate campaign, the congressional campaigns kind of do that work on their own. So I think that's what you're probably going to see this time as well.
And we haven't seen much, however, from the Donald Trump camp. So it'll be interesting to see who he puts in place.
I think the person he's going to put in place is Donald Trump. I mean, honestly, I think he will come and make visits here and hold the big rallies here and hope that his personality draws people out to the polls.
We'll see if that works. Well, another reminder, Steve's excited about this. It's almost convention time. We'll tell you what to watch for at the Republican convention, which is first, coming up next when Politics Now continues.
The Independence Day sale has been extended at Finley RV. Freedom from payments until 2017. Only a limited time to take advantage of this special deal. Check out the 2017 models and declare your independence from payments until next year. Only at Finley RV.
The world is getting more dangerous. Your home may not be as safe as you think.
Trust Rolladin Rolling Shutters to protect your home, your business, and especially your family. Your windows alone can't stop burglars. You need the protection only Rolladin Rolling Shutters can provide. With Rolladin's durable aluminum construction and insulation, you'll be safe and secure, plus saving money, up to 60% off your energy bills. Right now, get a free FireSense control switch with your order. It opens your shutters in case of a fire. Call Rolladin for your peace of mind.
Find great deals on new cars in Southern Nevada.
Found at the #1 domestic dealer in the state, Prestige Chrysler Jeep Dodge.
Right now, buy new Dodge Start for just $11,877. New Chrysler 200, $15,877. New Charger or Challenger, $22,877.
It's the summer clearance event.
Darts $11,877. 200, $15,877. Charger or Challenger, $22,877. Call, click, or come in to Prestige Chrysler Jeep Dodge on Centennial Center Boulevard.
The United States Senate has passed a National Day of Remembrance to honor the hundreds of thousands of Americans who built our nation's nuclear defense during the Cold War. This commemorative lapel pin was awarded to the Manhattan Project workers at the end of World War II. It has been recommissioned and is now available to all former nuclear weapons workers at no cost. If you're a former nuclear weapons worker, call 855-2-COLD-WAR to claim your complimentary pin. That's 855-2-COLD-WAR.
The Independence Day sale has been extended at Finley RV. Freedom from payments until 2017. Only a limited time to take advantage of this special deal. Check out the 2017 models and declare your independence from payments until next year. Only at Finley RV.
A lot of people are finding it hard to get excited for these two candidates. And nothing proves that more than this actual new poll from Public Policy Polling that has Hillary Clinton getting 43%, Donald Trump with 38%, and this was an actual choice, a giant meteor hitting the Earth got 13%.
Now, at 15% in the polls, the giant meteor will earn itself a slot at the presidential debates. I'm looking forward to that.
Be interesting to hear how that argument plays out. All right, coming up in this week's What to Watch, the political conventions are on the front burner. Republicans, they're up first in Cleveland, and most of Nevada's delegation will be leaving this week. One notable thing will be who does not go. Republican Senator Dean Heller, Governor Brian Sandoval are among those who are saying, no thanks, we're skipping it. State Party Director Michael McDonald is leading the Republican delegation. He'll be on the show next week to talk about it.
And I'll be at both conventions, actually, covering the story from Cleveland and Philadelphia.
All right, so what are you going to be keeping an eye on while you're there?
I think with the Republican convention, it's obviously whether or not they will try to stage a coup and overthrow Donald Trump and nominate someone else. Probably not a lot of chance of that, but that's something to look at. And then at the Democratic side, how are they going to deal with the Bernie Sanders people? The supporters of Bernie Sanders, how are they going to bring those over to Hillary Clinton, or can they? And will be interesting to see that. He's supposed to endorse her, so we'll see what happens on that front.
We got about 15 seconds. I do want to ask you one more question. With the history of the Republican Party defecting a little bit when going to national, is that something you're going to ask Michael McDonald about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll see if our delegation is going to go rogue.
There you go.
Thanks for watching Politics Now. You can email us politics@lasvegasnow.com.
We're your local election headquarters, and we'll see you next week.